now what we're gonna do is, that was just a shipping box, which is actually kind of cool because a lot of manufacturers don't put packaging together for shipping plus the product, and they usually ship the thing in the box that it came in, which kind of sucks because they drop it, because you know the drivers, I won't say their names, but the drivers of those brown trucks and those white and orange trucks, they throw your stuff on the freaking porch or whatever the hell happens, and they don't care because I've got video to prove it. But anyway, moving on. So let's see what's inside of here. It is the a manual for instructions for the power amplifier for the Emotiva Base X power amplifier. It just says user's manual. It's in a nice little bag. Be used for something else. What else do we have here? So it looks like standard power cord. Let's see. The funny thing is, what I noticed right away is this power cord, the jacket that's on here is the same exact material. It's just a heavier gauge as the RCAs in my last video, so you can go back. I'll put the link for that. You can click on it and I'll kind of compare the two when we have a chance to. But seems like it's let's take a guess and see how long this thing might be. Probably, I'm guessing 6 feet. All right, let's take this thing out of the box. That piece. Take this out. Let's get rid of that. And it looks like it's in a nice, I don't know what kind of material this is, kind of like a felt material. Let's see if it's just wrapped or if it's a complete bag. It's got some regular shipping tape on it, which is actually kind of neat because this cloth reminds me of the cloth that is like the dust cloth material. So, and it actually is not really a bag, it's just more like a cover, which is actually probably kind of cool. They have these, not candy. This is to keep moisture out of there. So don't let your pets or kids get near these things because dangerous. So anyway, I'm sure there's more than one in here somewhere, but speak of the devil, there's the second one. Usually 2 does the trick depending on where it's shipped from. That keeps the moisture out of it from packing or whatever else. So let's turn this around and we'll get this cover off completely. So there it is. It's got a nice brushed black aluminum finish, so you can actually see kind of like the detail and when these were actually cut or CNC'd at some point, I would imagine. And you can see like the detail in the aluminum itself. This Emotiva part at the top, this logo, it's actually embossed in there. It's like etched a little bit. Just the model A700, the Base X series. On the top, it's just spots where the device would actually need some circulation for it. So on the heat sinks. So let's actually stand this up so you can see it. So from kind of looking at it, you can use like 115 voltage or 220 or 230, which is European, 115, 120 for the US. I really don't see too much. All I do is I see there's a huge bolt on the bottom. Let me spin this around. There's a huge bolt on the bottom that's holding that heat sink at the bottom under here. Probably can't see that, but anyway, that's to keep that in place. Nice rubber feet. They got some deep thickness to them, probably an inch or so and the rubber is not too hard, so if you have a glass surface or wooden surface, you're not going to scratch anything. Then on the back, it has status LEDs, and what that's for, basically shows LEDs and shows all your channels. Some people have, like my equipment is in the front of my home theater, and what happens is the lights really aren't really kind of distracting. Some people find them, yeah. But if it's in a cabinet or wherever, you can turn them on, turn them off, kind of just a personal preference of the lights or whatever. So below that, there's an input trigger for it, and there's an output trigger. So the input trigger is this cable. And what this is for, this comes from your AV receiver, plugs into this input. So if you have Harmony or some type of universal remote or the Marantz, like what I have, you turn that on, it goes into the input and turns this device on, which is actually a smart move on their part by putting an input and an output. The output is actually, if you decided to add a second one of these, you can kind of daisy chain them. I'm not sure how many you can put together on, you know, in a chain before you start to have issues if you have to wind up with a power supply to turn them on or whatever, but that's really convenient. So you can actually do it two ways. You can have the device on standby, and every time you go to turn your equipment on, hit the button, turn on the amplifier. And from what I've experienced with any high-powered amplifier, they take a few seconds longer than, you know, your regular AVR does, which is actually pretty cool. So, you know, simple plugging it into the input. So it's always, your receiver is going to be an output. This will be the input. The next output will go into the next piece of equipment, and so on. So it doesn't stop that way. So, you know, that will actually work pretty good. So it seems that these connections here, kind of lightweight, you know, but the grip on it is kind of comfortable. And all the RCAs are actually, if you can see that, are actually gold plated, which is cool to see. And they're actually, they're all labeled, which is actually good. So you have your left channel, you have center channel, rears. So it's actually pretty cool. This is actually kind of user friendly, which is a good thing. So you don't get anything confused where trying to guess what channels go where, because in a separate individual amplifier like this, when you're plugging in, as long as you know what speakers went into what, you're kind of good. It's kind of simple. You don't have to do anything. My suggestion is to get the banana connectors. You can actually do this. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a slot drilled through here. You can put your wire in, twist them back down. But if you're in a rack or in a tight spot or in a closed situation, too difficult. It's a pain in the ass because you got wires sticking out and stuff's not threaded properly. And the easiest thing that could happen, and you have a short, is to have one strand flare off from the negative and another strand from somewhere else on a positive, and then you got problems because you shorted it out. Hopefully protection will kick in before that happens. So I'm gonna get another video, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks.